So every time they do a Nintendo Direct, I usually don't cover the Direct itself because it's kind of a waste of time for me. When I think about it, all the big name YouTubers are going to cover it and talk about it and go over and over and over everything that they go through. So why would I do that? What I do is I take the shadow drops and review them. And that's exactly what I did for this last one. It's taken me a little bit longer to review them because they're longer games and quite a bit more difficult. Now, the first one I did was the Castlevania Advance Collection, which I think a lot of people knew this was going to come out, and it had already gotten quite a bit of people excited for it as well, including myself, somebody who was not really a Castlevania person, I would say. Like, I kind of missed it that first go around. So I was excited to give it a shot, and it was $19.99 to get it. So how can you complain about spending $5 per game? You get 4 great Castlevania games, $5 a piece. That's hard to complain. And in this collection, you get Castlevania Circle of the Moon, Harmony of Dissonance, Aria of Sorrow, and the SNES version of Castlevania Dracula X, which was basically kind of thrown in there from the collection that was released earlier on the Game Boy Advance. I have to say that I think Aria of Sorrow is probably the best out of all the games. They've done really well, I think, porting them and making them true to what the Game Boy Advance experience was. But that's kind of the problem with them, I feel like. It didn't really age so well. Like, a lot of them, obviously the graphics were going to be a problem. They're still kind of blurry and jagged edges and all of that, but that's Game Boy Advance. We expect that. I thought the sound of most of them was done pretty well. Still nothing like really great to write home about. My biggest complaint with all of these games, though, is the controls. The controls really, really aged poorly. And when I say that, I'm trying not to compare it to the games of now and compare it to the games back then, but I can't really do that considering I'm gaming now. I'm playing these games now. This is, after we've played games like Hades and games like that, where the control matters so much. And there is a definite lag. There's a lot to kind of get used to as far as... But I think the biggest issue is even games back then had pretty good control. I understand that this is just a port. And I'm not being overcritical here because I'm going to say that I think that the value holds up for what it is. I think these are definitely worth $5 to $6, maybe $7. So I think this collection was valued pretty well. I'm not upset that I paid what I paid for it, and I'm glad I have it to kind of just have something to kick around and play every now and then. I wasn't expecting anything more than what we got, but it did kind of remind me about the game Bloodstained, and looking forward to a Castlevania for the 2020s, like getting the same treatment as Metroid or Mega Man, something that really brings it into this day and age. Now, part of the reason why I think I didn't enjoy the Castlevania Advance Collection as much as I should have is because I was comparing it to another game. And it's the other game that got shadow dropped, and that was the remake of Square Enix's Actraiser Renaissance, or Renaissance as some people say. My English lit teacher used to say Renaissance, and it used to annoy me all to hell. But I digress. The game itself is amazing. This is another game I didn't really get into, and understand, like, I don't come from like a big retro background. This is not really my thing. And recently with this channel, I've been more inclined to go back and play these kind of games and get back into them. And I'm really glad I have, because they are amazing. There's so many good games that I missed, and this being one of them. One thing that I really, really like about this game is that it goes from like that Metroidvania style, 2D kind of side scroller to an open world like tower defense kind of game, which I think is really great. I had a lot of fun playing both aspects of that and building up this village in like what I guess you would consider like the god mode, if you will. And then kind of expanding, listening to what my villagers want and trying to appease them as much as I could. Now, I will say one issue I did have is like the first time I played it, and I know some people are probably going to laugh about this, I was stuck at like Act 1 or Act 2. It was when you first become, like, you first have control to be the, in God mode over that first village, Fillmore. and it really has you do a simple task. It wants you to make a building. Like, I don't even remember what building it was, but I couldn't get my people to do anything, and I kept like looking for the controls, like, okay, well, how do I do it physically? I didn't understand that you just had to, let your villagers go out and explore more. You had to like open up more paths for them, and they would actually build it themselves. I thought it was something I had to directly tell them to do. And so, yeah, I spent like maybe an hour, honestly, like back and forth, like trying to figure it out. Then I'd like look online, and I'm like back and forth, like, okay, how do I do this? Like, this is a fun game, but I can't advance anymore. And ultimately, all I had to do was just like create a few more pathway for them, destroy some trees, something like that. And they got the resources and started building it. But anyway, I really love the both like aspects of that fighting. I think it's like so creative and something that I wish had done a lot more, because it's almost like two games in one. Like, okay, I need to get my, badass hat on to go fight these hard creatures. All right, now I got to get my strategist hat on and worry about like tower defense and like, monster hordes coming in and destroying my village, and how to best dictate, a victory. So that in itself was great. Not to mention the fact that in that Castlevania 2D side-scrolling battle mechanic, you also had really good controls, which, again, compared to like Castlevania, it was an issue. There was multiple times when I was trying to hit an enemy and it just didn't respond. But an Actraiser did really, really well. Now, I'm not going to be on, I will be honest, there is like a little bit of, I don't even think it's a lag, it's just the animation itself. Kind of threw me off, but it was slight, and I got used to it. As where you have so much more put into this game. I really feel like the $29.99 price tag of this game is well worth it. This is a game I've gone back to for far more than just the review, but to actually enjoy playing the game, and something that I'm really glad I picked up. I think this game in itself, and I'm not even talking about the music yet, the actual story, which I think is really good. It's pretty in-depth. You talk to certain heroes and certain villagers, and you see that they have this like fleshed out deep story to go on. But you also get good combat that a lot of people like, and then broken up. But there's so much to this game that I think is maybe slept on a little bit. I really, really enjoyed it. I'm kind of curious what you guys thought about this game, and if you picked up either one of them, and your thoughts on both of them. I understand there's a lot of people who are probably going to disagree with me on the Castlevania, and that's cool. I get it. Like, just understand, I'm not hating on it. I'm just saying, like, I think it's priced right. I'll say that. I'm also going to do a video on the DLCs for Super Mario Golf, because that really, really made that game just pop even more. Like, we finally have the full version of Super Mario Golf Rush, or Brush Golf, whatever it's called. It's just funny because I play the game all the time. You'd think I would know the name. But anyway, guys, I really appreciate you. Please let me know what you think about these two games. What was the best part of the Nintendo Direct for you? I know it's been a while. Maybe you have time to think about it, digest it. Let me know. Anyway, please like, subscribe, do all that crap. I love you. Appreciate you guys. Take care.